and may the martyrs come to welcome you, to bring you home into the holy city, so you may dwell in New Jerusalem. May holy angels be there at your welcoming, with all the saints who go before you there, that you may know the peace and joy of
Good morning. My name is Kevin Gremse. I'm the youngest of Jack's 7 brothers and sisters. Before I start, a few words of thanks. First off, thank you to all that have gathered here to pay tribute to my brother and offer support for our family. Thank you to Kathy, Jack's dear wife, for giving me the honor to stand up here to honor your husband, the man that I'm fortunate to call my brother. Kathy, it was inspirational to witness your gentle love and support for Jack, especially during the trying moments of the last few months and weeks. Undoubtedly, you are his cherished and guiding soulmate. Thank you to my sisters and brother and their spouses and children for expressed love, support, and attentiveness to Jack and Kathy during these last few weeks. I want to send a special thanks to my brother Paul and his wife Terry and my sister Mary Jane. While Paul has not lived close to our family over the years, his love for his family and his admiration for Jack has always been clear. Paul, you always wore your love for Jack on your sleeve. Never has your love for Jack and his family so well demonstrated in these past few weeks when you and Terry, along with Mary Jane, Terry's fellow nurse, and Jack's Irish sister, were there to comfort Jack and give support to Kathy. Thank you to Aunt Peggy for being there for your godson. While you're dealing with your own physical difficulties, providing comfort and affirmation of Jesus' love and care during his final hours. Thank you to my mother, Eileen, being Jack's guiding moral force every day of his life. You and Dad were his heroes, and you his rock. Thank you to the New York City Fire Department. The dignity, class, and style by which you provide support for your brother firemen and family has been inspirational. Your heartfelt support is appreciated by Kathy, my mother, and the rest of the Gremse family in a way in which I just can't put into words. The last few nights, and even today, when I would like to go out and shake everyone's hand or give you a hug, but there's just too darn many of you. So, all I can say is thank you. When I think of John Kevin Gremse, Jackie, Gremse, whatever name you called by, whatever name you responded to, I can only think of one word that summarizes this whole life. Family. Family was a common thread of Jack's life. Jack was so blessed because his family was one of multiple layers. Those layers included, of course, his Gremse family, or the Gremse family, as we've been dubbed over the years, the Archbishop Malloy, or Stanner family, the New York City Fire Department, and the family of the faithful. Please allow me the opportunity to talk about each one of these families of Jack. First off, the Gremse family. As the oldest son of my parents, Jack and Eileen, as the oldest brother of me and my 6 other siblings, Mary Jean, Eileen, Kathleen, Paul, Beth, and Patricia. As a husband of his beloved Kathy. As a proud father of Matthew and Christina. As a beaming grandfather of Sophia. As the approving godfather of Kristen, Andrew, and Caroline. As a cheerful uncle and brother-in-law, too many to count and name. Jack prided himself on being the oldest brother and was a steady and staunch promoter of family gatherings, both large and small. Nothing made him happier than having the immediate and extended family together, especially at my parents' house in Valley Street or at his house in East Atlantic Beach. We're all blessed that only 3 weeks ago, to this very day, in St. Ignatius Martyr, where we're gathered here now, we gathered for another occasion, for the baptism of Sophia Lynn Gremse, his first grandchild, the daughter of Matthew and his wife Stephanie. While one joyful sacrament at this church is unfortunately replaced with one of sorrow, we should be comforted to know that the joy in the family of that family gathering gave Jack peace and happiness in his final few weeks. The August 30th celebration was especially comforting to me. I knew that during Matthew's early and formative years, the situation was not easy for Jack as a father. He made great sacrifices to spend quality time with his son, given that Matthew lived 3,000 miles away, a part of what Jack always referred to as the left coast. He reminded Matthew often that he lived on the right coast. I accompanied Jack on one of his trips to California to visit Matthew. Only then, during that trip, did I realize how difficult it was for Jack as a father to make 4 annual cross-country trips, to stay in a furnished rooming house, and then figure out a way to entertain a young son 24 hours a day, alone in a city of strangers, without the family members with whom he wanted to share his son. Long before I was a parent, I learned from his quiet example some very important lessons. Selflessness, sacrifice, and patience, for which I am eternally grateful. Some 20 years later, after that California trip, it was so satisfying to see some 50 people gathered here for Sophia's baptism. Jack was so pleased, not only for sharing his son, but also his first grandchild. We also were able to share that day with his full extended family and Vicky, Matthew's mom, and her family. Jackie was weak from his treatments that day. And while his smiles did not shine easily, we knew he was happy. Second part of his family, the Malloy family. Jack was a proud alumnus of Archbishop Malloy High School, class of 1968. I have heard it said that one is lucky to have just one dear friend from high school during your middle and later adult years. Jack was truly blessed because he not had one, he had dozens, I mean dozens, of true friends from Malloy from the day that they came together as pimple-faced high school freshmen many decades past. Jack has been hosting the Gremse Bash every other year for the past 2 decades here in Long Beach for the special group of men and their significant others. The most recent bash here in July was the largest of such gatherings, with some 40 standers coming together at Jack's beach house from all over the country. Jack cherished his relationships and experiences with his friends, who he called classmates for life. And I was just very deeply inspired of their example of genuine adult friendship. Thirdly, the New York City Fire Department family. As a fireman and a lieutenant, served in the city and the people of New York with the fraternal professional order second to none. Jack proudly wore the New York City Fire Department uniform physically on his body and the badge figuratively on his heart during his 30 years of service. His joining the department in 1977 was an unspoken personal tribute to his love and his respect for my father, Jack, a New York Fire Department captain. But as being a fireman became a defining feature of who he was as a Christian man, having the privilege to assist and protect those in harm's way. Like so many of his brethren gathered here today, he bore the emotional pain for the loss of 343 brothers senselessly killed 13 years ago. Those 30 to 40 funerals, which he attended in the fall of 2001, permanently scarred his heart, but kindled a flame for honoring the sacrifices of those of his New York Fire Department brothers. Jack would be pleased to be reunited with his brothers so he can once again pay his respects and pass on the enduring love of their families. Finally, to the family of the faithful, as a person who, while he didn't necessarily consider himself religious, Jack was a product of religious stock, and he lived faithfully, believing in the Holy Spirit in his inimitable, unassuming, genuine way, consistently demonstrating good old-fashioned human decency. Jack's spirituality, as part of the family of the faithful, was not filled with scripture and daily mass. His faith was rather simple. Jack's faith was formed by a simple spirituality which connected the common person to the sense that the true heroes in the world are not the greatest among us, but those that affect the human condition and their citizens in a positive way. This spirituality led Jack to becoming involved, post-retirement as a volunteer, with a Long Island Progressive Coalition, to assist efforts that benefit the less fortunate and least represented among us. His consistent contributions, delivered without fanfare, but with steady effectiveness, resulted in him being recognized as the Volunteer of the Year for this island-wide organization a few years back. Jack's emotional ties with his sport teams were even profound, deep in meaning. His love for the Mets represented a lifelong support for the underdog. Even though most years were filled with mediocrity, Jack aligned himself with the Mets as he aligned himself with the average man and realized great joy with their successes, as infrequent they were. Not surprisingly, Jack's favorite movie was It's a Wonderful Life. A heartwarming film about family, friends, and unanswered prayers. That Frank Capra movie reminds us that the true measure of a man is in the goodness, caring, and happiness we give to others. The last few weeks were not happy for all of us. Seeing Jack's health quickly erode before our eyes. We were, as Psalm 23 says on Jack's mass card, we were all the last few weeks responding to the final alarm in life, for Jack's life. But today, we need not be in alarm mode. We should be at peace, knowing that Jack will now reside in what Psalm 23 referred to as the station house of the Lord. 19 months after the passing of my father, It's not easy losing another Jack Gremse. After losing John Edward Gremse, and now John Kevin Gremse, I say to you, my son, John Patrick Gremse, the third person for whom my wife and I were honored to bestow the name Jack Gremse. And every one of us that are part of the Jack Gremse family, the ones who are lucky to call themselves Gremses, or Gremses, whatever you want to call them, the Malloy friends, the New York City Fire Department brethren, and everyone close, everyone else that's part of the family of the faithful, the friends of Jack Gremse. Let us promise ourselves that we go forth with inspiration drawn from our beloved Jack, that we may be strengthened by the example of faith, goodness, and cheer. When my dad was with us, he used to take a moment to look out at the expansive family gathering before him at the table or in front of the camera, for which he always liked to capture in pictures. And he always marveled, and he uttered the words, "One man's family." I looked out at today's gathering in this church, and I share my dad's appreciative nod with admiration and awe. Wow. One man's family. Aren't we lucky?
Here I am, Lord. Is it I, Lord? I have heard you calling in the night. I will go, Lord, if you lead me. I will hold your people in my heart. I will hold your people in my heart.
Detail, hand salute! And two!